Hi, and welcome to Side by Side Games. My name is Alokin,
I am Oceanwolv.
and today we're going to review Diablo 4 on the PC co-op play. So we're going to go through the overview, pros and cons, co-op ability, production quality, gameplay mechanics, and overall fun.
Diablo 4 has a 7.75 rating out of 10.
The TLDR for Diablo 4 is that it offers stunning visuals, deep customization, and great co-op fun, but it's not beginner friendly, has class imbalances, and lacks endgame variety. First, we're going to do our overview. Price for this game was $100 for each of us to purchase on the PC. Our play time is definitely over a couple $100 for each of us. For me, I think I have maybe $600 over the last 2 years. I've been playing it quite a bit. I just recently stopped at Season 8. Diablo 4 is an action role-playing dungeon crawling game. Players create a character from one of the 6 playable classes and use their skills to complete quests through combat. I, Alokin, play all the classes, but I prefer the Barbarian.
I have played the Druid and love the Druid.
Yeah.
And also the price depends on how much money you put in for the outfits and stuff.
We must have at least paid 100, 200 each for this game. So at least close to 500 for Diablo 4.
I put, what do you think, like $50 into the game.
For cosmetics.
Which I love. That's what I prioritize.
So now we're going to jump into the pros and cons. I'll start. I like the very vast skill trees and the build options. I really liked how you can build different types of players, different types of classes, but it can still be different and unique based off how you want to build your character. I like that there's a lot of steady quality of life updates. When the developers know something's going wrong, they'll update it to make it better. I love that there's a lot of customization you can do in the game, and it's pretty much endless at this point.
Yeah, that's cool. I forgot about the skill trees and the build option. The artwork is absolutely stunning.
Yep.
The druid has companions, and I love having little animals with me as a character. One of the most important pros of the game is the mounts.
Yeah.
That was never in any of the other Diablo games. It just makes you get to places faster, and you don't have to be dashing all the time. So I love the mounts.
You can jump off of them and fight minions wherever you go. You want to start the cons?
Yeah, I feel like Diablo 4 is not beginner friendly. If I've never played Diablo before, I would be overwhelmed. Because I'm a casual player, I'm not going to be playing Diablo 4 without someone who's already seasoned. That's what I mean by Diablo 4 is not beginner friendly. The hell tides are very unclear at first because we were coming from Diablo Immortal. We didn't learn hell tides, we just kept seeing patterns of it. And then it turning red or dark, and then all of a sudden those monsters are gone. It's very unclear how to play hell tides at first, which I feel is a con. There should have been more instruction, but Diablo in general doesn't have instructions. And then the third con, which I feel is the biggest, is class imbalance.
Yeah.
AKA the Barbarian is way too OP.
For me, my cons are add-ons are very pricey. So all the cosmetics are super expensive. And then the end game can get monotonous. It just feels like it's the same thing over and over again once you've done the storyline. So you have to really like grinding. I don't like that it's the same game with any player count. Whether I'm playing by myself, and I'll explain it later, and the co-op ability, but yeah, it doesn't change the game. So that actually is a good segue to my co-op ability. Okay. But the campaign can be completed entirely solo, and even when running a pair of 2 or group of 4, the game doesn't feel much different. It's still the same exact game. So adding players does enhance the fun factor when you're traveling in a big group, like when we were playing with ENF, and we're all running together. It's really fun, but it just doesn't change the game. I could be doing that myself, to be honest, or with people online. It doesn't change the fact that the game is still the same. Nothing gets enhanced because you're adding players.
It's just the number of people are different.
Yeah, so for co-op ability, I put 6 because when you get really overpowered, you never have to rely on your team. I could literally beat all the bosses solo as a wizard. I don't even need anybody to help me. So I gave it a 6.
We have obviously different perspectives because I rated this a 10. A co-op ability is rated 10, which is a must play. Diablo 4's open world is built for multiplayer, both public and private. Alokin and I mostly play together, but we prefer it with friends. It is so much more satisfying to battle as a group in the Hell Tides, demolishing or fleeing from the commanders together, and helping out low-level newcomers as others did for us. Memories are created here. I just love the co-op ability because I'm not going to play Diablo by myself. I think it's because I'm just a casual player, whereas you play solo. But I feel like Diablo is built to play with other people. It's not as fun for me if I'm grinding by myself. I feel like I'm going nowhere and doing nothing. It's so fun being in a group. We help each other level up. That's what I really love. So it's cool to see what skills we invest in or what types of magic or
spells or abilities.
Yeah, and the way that we all play. Some of us like to go in the front and others like being in the back and deal damage from afar. So that's super fun. That's what I love about the co-op ability. The classes allow for the different ranges, the gameplay you want to play. So
it's a good point.
Yeah.
So what was your rating for this one?
It was a 10.
10. That's like a perfect score.
It's a perfect score. I love it.
Okay. Well, with your 10, then my 6, then this is a 16 overall from us divided that by 2. So our co-op ability is an 8.
Which is a lot.
That's really high.
Okay, so for the next category, production quality, and I rated that again a 10.
Wow.
The production quality is literally a 10 out of 10. It is my favorite art of any game I've ever played. The level of craft with the art, the details, and the animations in this game is unmatched and unforgettable. With the highlights in Diablo 4 being the mounts and the new class. I love the mounts. I love horses. I love any animals. My only complaints in the production quality of Diablo 4 are the daily store refresh without a wish list option and the class-specific costumes. I wish all outfits were available for every class. The sorcerer's clothing is very, very underwhelming.
I hated being the sorcerer when the outfits were.
I know, it was so ugly.
But the barbarian always has amazing gear. Yeah. For me, production quality, I put a 9. This is near perfect in my opinion. It has an incredible amount of content and details in this game that makes it almost perfect for me. Like, I was so close to giving this a 10. The one thing that stopped it from being a 10 is sometimes the color palette felt a little bland.
Okay, yeah,
like,
I would.
It just felt very brown. I know a lot of players like that look because it's really medieval and it is a really good tone. And I think that the art direction is really spot on because that's what they're going for. But for my own preference, I liked the Diablo 3 Bright World of Magic. Yeah, and Diablo Immortal was very colorful. Sometimes I log into the game and it's so like muted in tone that just the palette, I felt like they could have made a bit more risks and
highlight colors, right?
But I just felt like every detail in the game was very well thought out, from a small tree to the big bosses. Everything was well taken care of. I just had one gripe, which kept it from being a perfect score.
That's the lighting and color contrast. The colors are very monotone, which is fine. But again, we like a little more life to it, especially because Diablo is such a mythical fantasy world. I like to see like the neon. If it's not neon colors, like let it be just a bright color of pink or blue, green or purple. I think I'm just thinking of Diablo in general.
Overall
is a 10 out of 10. There's no way I could say that it's not perfect.
All right, what was your final score for production quality? And I give it a 9.
Yes.
This is a 9.5. Total. I mean, that's very well deserved. All right, gameplay mechanics. I'll start on this one. I gave this an overall 7. I still love it, but it does what it's supposed to do. I just wish there were more opportunities to macro the skills a little bit, like combine them or be able to plan them. I felt all you could really do was remap the keys. Sometimes picking up items was a big pain because it was never super accurate. And if you used a controller to play more chill and not on the keyboard, you could never accurately pick up what you wanted. There was this really great feature in Diablo Immortal where you could set the items that you wanted to pick up. because you get to a point in the end game where you only want to pick up the mythic unique item. There's no filter option. It just kind of sucks. For me, because I played so much, it got kind of monotonous. The end game boss experience I felt sometimes was just nonstop mashing of buttons, spells over and over again. I don't mind the grind. At some point, when I'm doing this much skills and there's like 12 of us attacking this boss, something has to give. It just doesn't feel like we're doing any damage to it. It's not really doing any damage to us either, but the boss needs 15 minutes to kill, and it's not as fun as it could. It's just kind of agonizing, yeah. So I'll put a 7.
Totally. Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
My gameplay mechanics, I rated as a 4. It needs work. As much as I love Diablo 4, the clear favoritism for the barbarian class is extremely frustrating because of its exclusive perks. So, example, the barbarian has extra weapons and mobility advantages without any equivalent compensation for the other 6 classes. Unless you commit to long-term play, co-op, or class exploration, defeating events in Masters feels nearly impossible. I was literally gonna die. If you weren't the barbarian while we were playing, my druid would literally die because technically my build, I just build with all companions, and I just feel like I was never able to defeat bosses on my own. Even when I hit 100, I was still weak. Even E, as the sorcerer, she felt so weak. She always said she felt like a fraud at being 100 because she could not hold her own. She couldn't survive on her own out in the hell tides. So that's where I feel with the imbalance of classes.
I totally agree with you on that. So for this one, you put a 4, and I put a 7. That makes us an 11 total, which means our collective overall on gameplay mechanics is a 5.5.
I think that's a really solid rating. Overall fun. I rated this an 8, which is a love. Alokin and I have played Diablo 3, Immortal, and 4 together. Its deep endgame, custom class builds, and seasonal updates make it a high, replayable, and legendary franchise. For avid fans like us, Diablo 4 is a must-play, especially with the mounts and new class. If you are new to Diablo and just jumping into the Diablo universe, teaming up with a veteran would be very helpful for you, and checking forums to navigate the complex game. But you're going to have fun no matter what class you pick. And you're going to explore what strengths, skills, and abilities you like to play. Overall, I do think it's a love for sure. Solid 8.
That's a high score. Overall fun. For me, I put an 8 as well. It's incredibly fun and more fun as you add players to your party. The only thing I wish about this game was that there was more synergy and spell combinations with different classes.
Oh my god, yeah, you're right.
So if you had a party of 4 barbarians, maybe something special happened. There should be incentives for a party with like 4 different classes, so that it encourages people to play off meta or like build different things, because when a barbarian, whatever class is in meta that season, everybody just plays. And then you might have a party that has like 3 or 4 rogues in it. And it's just not fun. It'd be cool to see, like you mentioned earlier, somebody being tank, somebody doing DPS in the back, somebody doing magic and spells. It would be interesting to have bosses that required you to be 4 different skills, 4 different classes, and use all your different skills to complete the challenge, versus just mowing down everything because you're just so overpowered. And so I think that was like the only reason why I didn't put it higher. But this game is pretty high for me.
I do agree. And that was one of the things that because my favorite Diablo is Immortal. One of my favorite things, I think our favorite things about Immortal is that like we could bounce each other, like our skills off of each other. My Wiz had that crystal. And your necromancer was able to beam light off of that crystal. It was so fun being able to combine your skills and abilities to create co-op ability that would enhance it so much more. Rather than just playing alongside each other. Doing the same thing. But I rated it an 8 and not a 9 or 10 because, like I said in my cons, this is not a beginner game. As a casual gamer, I do not recommend you just go and buy this game. and play solo. It's a must play when you are playing with someone else.
Yeah, it adds to the fun when you have more players. So we both rated this an 8, which makes it an average of 8. The next part of the framework is to calculate all the ratings, collective ratings between us two, and then create an average of the 4 key categories. We have co-op ability at 8, production quality at 9.5, gameplay mechanics at 5.5, and overall fun at 8. Divide this by the number of categories. The average of our key categories comes out to a 7.75, which is a very strong rating. Puts it at the love level for us. It's an amazing game.
But I think
It's a must play for co-op.
Especially because we've played the previous Diablos.
It is the best one. Yeah. Well, what a review. Diablo 4. Thanks for sticking around to listen.
Definitely.
We hope that this is your next 2-player game.
It's so fun. It's so worth it. And yeah, you're going to fall in love with the Diablo world.